Coming up on Golf Central, the best of the game teed up in the final World Golf Championship event of 2016. We get you set for the showdown in Shanghai.
One of the top stories heading into the HSBC Champions, Rory McIlroy makes a big change in his bag. We have all the details on his new clubs and how it may impact his game.
Plus, a major star returns just in time for the playoffs. Golf Central starts now.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Tonight in primetime, 8 of the top 10 golfers in the world lead a strong field in the WGC HSBC Champions. World number 2 Dustin Johnson is making his first start since being named the PGA Tour Player of the Year, while FedEx Cup champ Rory McIlroy is looking to double dip in 2016 by adding another Race to Dubai title to his trophy collection.
Game's feeling good, and you know, I've just come off the back of 3 weeks off, so there might be a little bit of rust in there, but I'm sort of working through it at the minute. But yeah, no, I'm excited. It's a place I've done well at before, and there's quite a lot to play for with the Race to Dubai on the line. I've sort of got used to ending the season on a bit of a high in Dubai, and thinking about it this year, I was like, I'd really love to just, have that feeling again, have that feeling of capping the year off as best as I possibly could. That starts this week here in Shanghai.
It certainly does. Hello and welcome to Golf Central. Lisa Cornwell, Billy Kratzer, great to have you with us tonight. World number 3, Rory McIlroy. He seems to have his groove back, and well, Billy, when he's carrying that kind of confidence, you have to watch out for him, but he also has some new equipment in the bag.
Well, that he does. In fact, no longer is Nike in the club making business, so he has to go out and he has to find something different. So he's gone to the TaylorMade. He's gone to the M2, the driver and the fairway wood, and by all indications, he likes it. I mean, that is a long stare to watch that ball, so that ball traveled a long way. Also, a new putter in the bag. So I think it's a good time for Rory McIlroy, Lisa, to make these changes. He's playing well, even though he said he's taken 3 weeks off. He finished the year on a very high note. He had a great Ryder Cup, and I think all these players, they really want to see, if they're changing equipment, that how they're going to play when they change, but they want to make sure that they're swinging well, because these guys swing well more than they swing poorly. And so I think going forward, this is a great time for Rory to make that change.
Last time he made the change, we saw him struggle just a bit. Correct. But he seems to have more confidence at this point. So definitely it's going to be fun to watch Rory McIlroy and sort of make this transition. Much more on McIlroy tonight. But right now, taking a look at one of the marquee groupings. Tonight, Dustin Johnson and Henrik Stenson, both of whom captured their first major titles this year, as well as Patrick Reed, who went 3-1-1 for the U.S. in the Ryder Cup.
Anytime you can play really well in that kind of condition, it's key. And for me, it's the main thing is staying patient and attack when you're supposed to attack. And at Ryder Cup, you have so much pressure because you're attacking all the time. And there's times throughout the singles match that you have to kind of gear back, play to center of greens, etc. So it kind of teaches you how to get in that attack mode, but then pull back. And it's a key because for me, I like to get impatient, like to go for certain things. And I've done it a couple times this year. Well, not this year, at this golf course that have bit me. So it's going to be a learning curve, and I've learned from all my mistakes in previous years, and now it's just go out and do what I need to do.
Player of the Year Dustin Johnson leads one of the strongest fields in golf as they tee it up in Shanghai. Don't miss Golf Channel's exclusive primetime coverage of the WGC HSBC Champions tonight at 10:30 Eastern. William McGirt qualified to play alongside the world's best this week in the final WGC event of 2016, but instead he teed it up today in the Sanderson Farms Championship Pro-Am in the PGA Tour's opposite field event. He's in the Pro-Am today, but not in the tournament starting tomorrow. Scott Walker joins us from Jackson, Mississippi with the story.
Lisa, that's right. William McGirt found out that on the PGA Tour, if you qualify for a WGC event, you're ineligible to play an opposite field event. So he asked if he could support this tournament in some other way, and the Pro-Am was an option for him. So he came Tuesday, went to the Pro-Am dinner, and then played in the Pro-Am here today. It was all part of his desire to support Joe Sanderson and Sanderson Farms, who really saved golf here in Mississippi.
Mr. Sanderson committed to the PGA Tour for 10 years, and it's a way to say thank you to him for that. But, also, back where I grew up in North Carolina, he's building a chicken farm, And he's bringing a lot of jobs to an area that needs jobs desperately. And, you know, like I said, if it takes me taking a day and a half out of my time to come say thank you, then I'm definitely in to do that. This is an event that, you know, it's a much smaller market than what we normally play in. And the big thing is you look at the charity dollars that are generated by this tournament. You know, if we're not doing that, then all these charities around the area are walking around and saying, hey, you know, we need help. And I think last year they raised over $1.1 million for charities. And it's huge for a community like this.
Is the rule an issue?
You know, I don't have to like the rule. I don't have to agree with the rule, but I have to abide by the rule. And, you know, I asked the question, you know, I want to play Sanderson Farms. Can I play? The answer was no. I never really fought it. You know, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, can I go play in the Pro-Am? I want to do something to support this event. I mean, I had zero interest in flying halfway around the world. You know, if I'd have gone, I'd have played Malaysia the week before. That would have been 2 weeks away from my kids. And, you know, something that I would have missed last week was my daughter walking from the kitchen all the way through the living room into my bedroom last week. And that's something you only get to watch for the first time once. And I don't care whether you're watching it on FaceTime or not. It's nothing like being able to pick her up and give her a hug after she does it.
McGirt made the point to me that he didn't make this a stand of any sort. This wasn't trying to show up the tour in any way. It was just a way to try to support a tournament that's been so important to the people here in Mississippi and in his home state of North Carolina. That's it from the Sanderson Farms Championship. Lisa, let's send it back to you in the studio.
Scott, thank you very much. At 42nd in the official world golf ranking, McGirt would have been the highest ranked player in the field in the Sanderson Farms Championship. His story caught the attention of Golf Channel contributor John Feinstein, who says there is room for gray in the black and white rules of the PGA Tour.
I think it's a shame that the PGA Tour won't allow William McGirt to play in the Sanderson Farms Championship this weekend. There is a rule that says if you are qualified for a major event, whether it's WGC or a major championship, that you can't play in the opposite event. I understand the sentiment behind the rule. You want the field to be as strong as possible in the bigger event, and you don't want stars stepping down to play in the opposite events. I get the principle. So make it on a case-by-case basis. There's only 4 opposite events each year. If a player, for a good reason, like this one with McGirt, who wants to stay home with his family, he's got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and not travel to China, who wants to show support for a sponsor in an event he played in the last 5 years when he didn't qualify to go overseas, wants to play, allow him to do it. But tell him, once per tournament. That means a maximum of 4 in your career, at least at the moment under the current schedule. William McGirt's trying to do the right thing. The tour is always talking about we have to help our sponsors in every way. He's attempting to do that. The rules won't let him. I think it's good they let him play in the Pro-Am. He needed an exemption to do that. I think it would have been better if they'd said, okay, we're going to make an exception because it makes sense, and let him play all week.
Okay, thank you, John. Here are some of tomorrow's notable tee times in the Sanderson Farms Championship. David Toms finished in a tie for second with McGirt in 2015. Ian Poulter is making his first PGA Tour start since May as he recovered from a foot injury. And after making the cut in his first 2 starts back in Asia, Poulter says he's ready to go in tonight's Titleist Tour Report.
I feel pretty good. I got to be honest, the time that I took off was good. Yeah. No tablets, no more anti-inflammatories, just using laser therapy, which is seeming to keep the inflammation away, which is great. I have a device at home which I can now use, but you know, it's great to be back. 4.5 months sitting on the sidelines is brutal. Missing out on the Ryder Cup was painful, but being there to help Darren was obviously very nice. But it's go time again. I'm back in action. I feel good, albeit it was a long trip back from Malaysia last week, but I'm fresh and ready to go.
Here's a closer look at how the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America is setting up Jackson Country Club this week. The Bermuda Rough is playing deeper than 2 inches while the greens are rolling faster than 12 on the stimp meter. Some more PGA Tour news to pass along tonight. The AT&T Byron Nelson has a new host venue. Trinity Forest Golf Club will take over for Las Colinas beginning in 2018. Trinity Forest is co-designed by 19-time PGA Tour winner Ben Crenshaw and Bill Coore. The second FedEx Cup playoff event of the season has a new name. The tournament at TPC Boston will now be known as the Dell Technologies Championship to reflect new title sponsor Dell EMC. And the PGA Tour's expansion into Asia continues with a new office in Tokyo, Japan. The tour named Masashi Ishii as Vice President and Managing Director. It's the best field since the Tour Championship, so which heavyweight has what it takes to win it all in the final WGC event of the year? Our experts reveal their favorites just ahead. But first, Lydia or Aria, the LPGA's Player of the Year race heats up with just 4 events remaining. It's all on the way when Golf Central continues.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Make a difference in your game. BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.